Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure unto the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off with an article on endtimesheadlines.org titled, Tony Blair Calls for Global Agreement on Social Media Speech Restrictions. And hey, who do you think the main target of this puppet Tony Blair and all these other pundits out here are when it comes to talking about restricting and policing free speech online? You know, the men of the Lord, the prophets of Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashi, who are out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up these video epistles on the internet highway, because, you know, when our apostles and elders over here at GMS, you know, went onto YouTube back in 2007, what have we seen all the way up until 2024? You know, just a great awakening of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans out here to the fact that you're Israelites, and also that these prophecies and scriptures in the Bible, which for a long time have been broken down incorrectly, are finally getting broken down correctly. And it's got a lot of these, wacky-tacky Christians out here scrambling, and a lot of these other people out here, including our own people, scrambling because, you know, the true message of Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashi has gone out, and it's turning, you know, the current state of things upside down. Because what does it say in Matthew chapter 24, verse 14? And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And how has this gospel of the kingdom mainly been preached unto the whole world? Through the unicorn or the internet. Hence why you got brothers, you know, up in Canada, Central and South America, Europe, you know, Japan, Africa, the Philippines, etc., etc. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And by the correct preaching of these prophecies, what? It's manifesting the will of Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashi on this earth, bringing about the end of this current age of the heathens, chiefly under the biblical Edomites, or these so-called white people, and the elites of the Edomites, you know, such as the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. And they understand the scriptures and understand biblical prophecy as well. Hence why it says in Revelation chapter 12, verse 12, that devil or deceiver, Esau, Edom, is about to come down in great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And that heavily involves, you know, taking the men of the Lord off of the highways and byways, as well as these video epistles offline to, try to keep biblical prophecy from coming to its fulfillment. And what's that ultimately going to lead to? The famine of the word, where you're no longer going to be able to find, you know, the men of the Lord. Hey, not just GMS, but hey, even these other Israelite groups out here, even though a lot of them are going off, they've, you know, done a big part in spreading this message of Israel as well. Hey, they're no longer going to be found on the highways and byways, and these video epistles are damn sure not going to be found online. This is Amos chapter 8, verses 11 to 13. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, though, you know, food shortages and famines that are going to cause mass death are coming as well, but of hearing the words of Yahweh, especially through the unicorn or the internet, which, you know, again, has done a big job in spreading this word in many different languages all across the planet, which, let's get that real quick in Psalms chapter 19. I'm going to read verses 1 to about verse 4. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. And what does the header read? The works and the word of Yahweh. The heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. And that's talking about these satellites and, the second heaven, low orbit space that are beaming these internet signals all across the planet. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night sheweth knowledge. I'm doing a lesson right now. In the next hour, another brother's going to be doing a lesson. When brothers are asleep, brothers are going to be doing lessons. Brothers are going to be doing lessons tomorrow, etc., etc. I think I can confidently say that at this point, there's not one, hour out of the day where a brother somewhere across the planet is not putting up a lesson. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night sheweth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Got brothers speaking in English, brothers speaking in Spanish, Filipino, Italian, even brothers doing sign language, lessons out here. Their line is gone out through all the earth. And when you're on the internet, what are you? You're online. And their words to the end of the world. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. And the sun in the scriptures can represent knowledge. So this knowledge and wisdom has been, spread to the ends of the earth, preached unto all nations. Hence why the end is manifesting right before us. Hence why these different agencies and organizations out here are talking about a call to monitor free speech. And what's the cover story? Oh, it's harming the children. It's spreading violent extremist content, etc., etc. When really, they just want to try to stop biblical prophecy from coming to its fulfillment. And again, we know through scriptures that this word will be scrubbed and that famine will come, where they shall wander from sea to sea and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh and shall not find it. And hey, it's going to be very hard in that day, damn near impossible to find the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai when the famine of the word hits. Count yourself blessed in those days if you come across a man of the Lord and the Most High has it on his spirit to, preach unto you. And if that's the case, hey, then you're probably, of that elect number. Verse 13, in that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst spiritually, because they won't have that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be the stability of their times, as it says in Isaiah 33, verse 6, and they're going to have to take all the judgments that Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is going to be bringing during Jacob's trouble. So like we always tell you, sincere Akim and Akwat out there, during this time of liberty and grace, while this word is freely available, drink from these rivers of living waters while you still can, because with the information I'm about to go into, we can see we're getting closer and closer to that spiritual spigot being turned off. But let's go back again to this article. Tony Blair calls for global agreement on social media speech restrictions. Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, whose neoliberal Labour Party government enacted some of the strictest speech laws in modern British history, has joined the chorus of commentators demanding a new crackdown on social media. Speaking to LBC Radio this week, Blair said, "The world is going to have to come together and agree on some rules around social media platforms. It's not just how people can provoke hostility and hatred," which, this word is considered by these heathens and even by a lot of our people as hate speech. But I think the impact on young people, what do they always come with? We got to protect the children, particularly when they've got access to mobile phones very young and they are reading a whole lot of stuff and receiving a whole lot of stuff that I think is really messing with their minds in a big way. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I'm sure we need to find one. Blair was not alone in calling for new restrictions on social media. Earlier this week, the left-wing Speaker of the House, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, also said that the government should consider new limits against online speech. Misinformation is dangerous, Hoyle said. Social media is good, but it's also bad when people are using it in a way that could cause a riot, threat, intimidation, suggesting that we should attack somebody. It's not acceptable. But what we've got to do is factually correct what's up there. If not, I think the government has to think long and hard about what they are going to do about social media and what are they going to put through Parliament as a bill. I believe it should be across. It doesn't matter what country you're in. The fact is that misinformation is dangerous, and no misinformation or threats or intimidation should be allowed to be carried out on social media platforms. And hey, you've got brothers over in the UK prophesying this word. And with that migrant situation going on over there, you've got a lot of, citizens speaking out against it, getting arrested for spreading hate speech. So what all the laws and abilities to, crack down on free speech already being put in place. And it's not just taking place over in jolly old London, but now, I'm going to go to my next clip, which is a part of the video the brother Amawan Gabar of the New York camp, whose page is GMS Awakening 144, did, titled, "Yo, YouTube tripping. Free speech is coming to an end." And hey, I would recommend, you go and subscribe to this brother's page and be edified, and especially watch this video, because he's going to play a little clip, which I'm about to play a clip of Kamala Harris calling for social media platforms, like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that, to be held to account if, the information on their platforms lead to some incidents of hate and violence. So what would those platforms be forced, in quotes, to do to crack down on that? Crack down on free speech. Ultimately, this word. But I'm going to start the video at the 7-minute and 50-second mark. And, just because, I'm going to give a fair use more so for the clip that the brother's using than, actual brother's, video. But this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes. But let's see what old Legs Up Harris has to say.
Can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation, and that has to stop. All of these social media companies and these online platforms, which are so powerful in their ability to impact perception about an issue and to influence behaviors. Let's be clear about that. There have to be standards. We'll put the Department of Justice of the United States back in the business of justice. We will double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter this extremism. We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms, because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy. And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
That's it.
Straight to the point. And whether whether we make it to the elections, or whether knee pads Harris or Donald Duck is elected, they're still, selected. They're both on board with the agenda of the elites, and that calls for what? Monitoring, restricting, and penalizing, free speech. So again, hey, it's not going to be too much longer of this truth going out. So it would behoove you to get as much as you can, because once, like they say, you don't know what you got until it's gone. And this word, all throughout the history of our people and the prophets, has always been controversial with those trying to keep it from going out. Romans chapter 15, where it says, what? All these things are written aforetime for our learning. And that's what we're about to go into with this quick account in Acts 17. The Apostle Paul was preaching this word, and it was mainly our people that came against it. They had very bad things to say against it. And then what? Ecclesiastes chapter 1, there is nothing new under the sun. So let's read this with a spiritual eye. Paul at Thessalonica. Now when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue of the Jews. And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and three Shabbat days reasoned with them out of the scriptures. And just like we go out onto the highways and byways to preach this word to our people and put up these video epistles, opening and alleging that Hamashiach must needs have suffered and risen again from the dead, and that this Yahushai, whom I preach unto you, is Hamashiach. Apostle Paul was preaching Yahushai, which he wasn't negating the Old Testament. The Old Testament speaks of Yahushai, just as we preach, Yahushai today, preach the Old and the New Testament, the whole book, with the complete understanding now. And our people came against, the apostles and the prophets back then. They're doing the same thing now. You got a lot of people, a lot of our people trying to discredit the Bible, saying it's a white man's book, and even Israelites that are starting to break down the prophecies wrong, and not even want to say the true names of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, or the name of His Son, Yahushai. And it's starting to seem like a lot of you different camps out there have taken that bag and made a deal with the devil. Verse 4, and some of them believed and consorted with Paul and Silas, and of the devout Greeks, the Hellenists, which were, Greek-speaking Jews. This wasn't talking about literal heathen Edomite Greeks. A great multitude, and of the chief women, not a few. Just like how you've got our people, living as Americans out here, or whatever they follow after, different religions. But if they're of that elect, they hear the word and they believe, and convert back, return unto being what they are, Israelites. Verse 5, but the Jews which believed not, moved with envy, took unto them certain lewd fellows of the baser sort, and gathered a company, and set all the city on an uproar, and assaulted the house of Jason, and sought to bring them out to the people. We get a lot of agents sent our way to, try to do what? Disrupt the word and blame us. Not just from Esau, but hey, you've got other, Israelites that say they're Israelites that follow similar practices. Whenever you see these different camps, they may not agree on everything, but what do they always agree on? That GMS is the worst thing going. And just like a certain bishop out there, they'll go onto heathen platforms and, blame us with the same talking points that these heathens, say we are, bearing that false witness. Verse 6, here's the main point I wanted to get to. And when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, crying, these that have turned the world upside down are come hither also. So you can see that the preaching of this word in the past was an uproar to where people were saying, what? It's turning the world upside down. What did What did those wicked Pharisees and Sadducees say about Yahushua? If he keeps preaching, what the Romans, who were Edomites, are going to come and take away everything that we have. And with us preaching the truth of the scriptures, a lot of these jakes out here are squirming because what? They have dealings with the Edomites and feel that what? That's going to be taken away from them. And they're going to be, persecuted in society, which Esau is coming down on the entire nation of Israel. The only difference is that what? The elect that stood firm in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, are going to be protected in that day. But as it says in Isaiah 29, those that have made a covenant with death, that death shall be disannulled. Esau's coming after all of us, but for you, you're not going to have that hedge over you, and you're going to get the full force of Esau, Edom's great wrath, when he comes down, in that great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. But again, the main point, these are they that have turned the world upside down. This, gospel is bringing about the end of Esau, Edom's rulership. So he's coming with these agendas to quell free speech, to really come after the truth, to get the men of the Lord off the highways and byways, and to scrub these video epistles offline to bring about that fame of the word. So with that, I hope this was an edifying lesson to you sincere Akim and Akwat out there. And again, get as much knowledge, wisdom, and understanding while you still can. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.